The President or parties to the proceeding are present. The accused Ian Sari is present in the room downstairs. The accused Ian Sari, through his lawyer, expressed his personal presence for the entire day proceeding today, and the letter of waiver has been delivered to the greffier. Thank you, Mr. President. What about the reserved witness? Is the reserved witness is present? Evidentiary. The next witness, which is TCW 604, will arrive at the court this morning at 10 a.m. Thank you. The chamber receives the letter of request from the accused Ian Sari through his counsel to waive his rights to participate directly in the proceeding, and he wishes to follow the proceedings through audio-visual means for the entire day today due to his health, that he cannot sit for long to follow the proceeding in the courtroom. Having seen the request by the accused Ian Sari not to participate directly in the proceeding and to follow it in the holding cell downstairs through audio-visual means, and that he can communicate with his defense team during the proceeding today, as such, the chamber agrees to the request by Ian Sari to waive his rights to participate directly in the proceeding today. So he can follow the proceeding from the holding cell downstairs through audio-visual means. And this applies for the entire day proceeding. The audio-visual unit, you are instructed to link the proceedings through audio-visual means to the holding cell downstairs for the entire day. Good morning, Mr. Slocum Lomut. The chamber is grateful for your valuable time to testify before us with your patience. This morning you will be questioned by the defense teams, and the floor will be given to Kingston Port defense team first, and the other two teams will follow. The floor is now given to Kingston Port defense team to put question to this witness. You may proceed. Defense counsel. Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, Your Honors. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Mr. Witness. My name is Kung Som-on, the defense counsel for Kiel Sampon, and I have some questions for you so that you can tell the bench in relation to case 002. First, I'd like to ask you in relation to the historical context and your personal background in relation to the revolutionary movement prior to 1975. You stated before this chamber regarding your personal contribution to this movement. Can you further collaborate besides that money contribution? Did you provide encouragement spiritually to the movement? If so, what were they? Response: No, I did not. Thank you. Question: In relation to the meetings amongst your work group, did you have meetings amongst your group? Response: Yes, there were meetings. I pause a little bit in order for the interpretation to be done into other languages. So please be patient with me. The meetings you participated, as you just stated, can you recall the contents of those meetings? Response: I cannot recall the contents that well. It has been more than 30 years. Thank you. Question: Can you recall the people who worked with you or the one who attended the meetings together with you during your revolutionary movement prior to 1975? Response: I cannot recall them all because the meetings were held with different people at different time. Question: Did you meet Khieu Samphan prior to 1975? Response: Prior to 1975, I met him because he was the people's representative. He was also a minister. But during the revolutionary movement meetings, I did not meet him. Thank you. Question: During the time that Mr. Khieu Samphan went to the forest in 1968, or before 1968, did you meet him, and in what capacity he was in? Was it the official state affairs during the time that you met him? Response: No, it was not the state affairs. I met him incidentally. I just happened to meet him. I did not have any official contact or communication with him either at the Commerce Ministry or in his capacity as the people's representative. I just happened to meet him in Phnom Penh during the time. Thank you. Question: Did you ever meet Khieu Samphan to discuss about the resistance movement? Response: No, I did not. Question. After 1970, did you have any contact with Mr. Khieu Samphan? Response. No, after that I had not met him. Thank you. Question. In relation to your personal contribution to the revolutionary movement, why did you contribute to that movement with your money? Can you tell the bench? Mr. President, that is a repetitive question. It was asked yesterday already, so the witness, you do not need to respond to this question. Counsel, thank you. Now I move on to another question. What was your status in the party in the CPK before 1975? Response. Prior to 1975, the Communist Party was not talked about, and I did not have any role or status. I occasionally attended the meeting, but there was no mentioning about the Communist Party. Thank you. Question. Did you hear the word Samana Chun or sympathizer during that time? Response. Yes, I heard the word Samana Chun. Question. Was your status regarded as one of the Samana Chun? Response. Yes, I considered myself as within the Samana Chun group. Question. Can you explain to the bench what does Samana Chun mean? Response. Samana Chun are those people who support the movement. However, it is not necessarily means they are active members. Thank you. I'd like to move on to the second topic of my questioning regarding the evacuation. You told the chamber repeatedly regarding the evacuation that you left Phnom Penh amongst other people when you were ordered to do so. My question is related to you personally. During the evacuation, did you attempt to find the people whom you worked with before the evacuation? Response. No, I did not try to find them, and there was no means for me to find them or where they were. Even if I were wanted to try, I would not be able to do so. Thank you. Question. Did you receive any opinions, or did you have any special meeting with the officials from the revolutionary movement that you joined before 1975 and that you received it during the evacuation? Response: no, I did not. Thank you. My question is now on the third subject regarding your leaving of the cooperative south of Stung Mien Chey when you came to Phnom Penh to work. You told the bench that people came to inform the chief of the cooperative, and then you were told by the chief of the cooperative for you to leave the cooperative, but you did not meet that person personally. The question is that when you were told by the chief of the cooperative to go to Phnom Penh, did the chief tell you the exact location that you have to come to Phnom Penh? Response: no, he did not tell me in advance. I recall that it was the deputy chief of the cooperative who accompanied me to Phnom Penh on a motorbike, as I recall. And then I stayed near the office of the commerce, as I stated yesterday. Thank you. Let me confirm that when you left the cooperative at Stung Mien Chey, you did not leave alone. You were escorted by the deputy chief of the cooperative on the motorbike, right? Question: did the chief of the cooperative inform you that where you will be dropped off when you left the cooperative? Response: no, I was not informed of the location. Thank you. Question: upon your arrival in Phnom Penh, when you reached that location, did you know what that office was, or what were you told? Response: upon my arrival, I did not know what that location was. Only later, the chief of the ministry came to meet me and allow me to stay there temporarily. Thank you. Question: immediately upon your arrival, you were late to meet the chief of the ministry immediately? Response: I cannot recall how many minutes or hours upon my arrival before I was allowed to meet the chief of the ministry. But I knew that I went to meet him. I cannot recall the exact time. Thank you. Did you meet the chief of that location on the same day or next day? Response: I cannot recall. Question: can you confirm who the chief of the institution was? Response: it was On, the chief of commerce. Question. Where after you met with Mr. On, or when you met Mr. On, what did Mr. On tell you? Response. He did not talk much about anything else. He asked me to wait there and that I would be made and instructed by the upper echelon. He did not give me any instruction on what I should do at that location at that particular time. Thank you. Question. So he did not give you any instruction because he didn't know, or whether he did not have the duty to tell you what you should do?
No way the witness. Objection, Mr. President. There's no way the witness can speculate as to what the Chief of Industry thought or knew at the time.
The defense counsel, do you have any reply to the objection raised by the prosecution? Defense counsel, there are two issues here, Mr. President. First, it is related to the fact that the witness knew, or that he was told that that person did not have the responsibility to tell him what to do, or there could be other people who hate their responsibility. And another issue is that, as raised by the prosecution, that the witness himself did not know about what On thought. The President, the objection raised by the prosecution sustained. The witness, you do not need to respond to this question. Defense team. Thank you. Question. Now I move on to another question. Until when did you meet the people whom were told by On that they were from the upper echelon? Response. As I recall, it was not that long after. It could be a day or two after that. Then the upper level came to give me instructions as what I should do. So it was within days, not weeks. Thank you. Question. Whom did you meet who represented the upper echelon? Response. The person who came to meet me was Mr. Von Wade, but I did not know what his position was within the party. But his position, of course, was above Mr. On's position. And he came to tell me what task I should fulfill. Thank you. Question. You already said that Mr. On was the chief of the ministry where you stayed. Is that correct? Response. Yes. Question. You also said that Von Wade, who came to meet you, you did not know his status in the party, but he is above Mr. On. It means above the ministry level. Is that correct? Response. Yes. Question. When you met Won Wait, what did Won Wait tell you? Response. I already replied to similar questions a few times already. He told me that there was a Chinese delegation and there was a banking representative, and within that place nobody had any expertise in banking, and he wanted someone who has the banking expertise to meet the Chinese delegation. And as I had the knowledge, he asked me to wait and to join the delegation and meet with that Chinese delegation. I was supplied the civilian clothes to wear in order to meet and greet that Chinese delegation. So he asked me to prepare myself and the suitable clothing to meet with the Chinese delegation. Thank you. Question. What was the reason Won Wait knew about your expertise at the time? Response. Could you please repeat your question? My question is, why Won Wait knew about your expertise? Or let me rephrase so that I will not have any objection to my question. The question is, why did Won Wait knew about your capacity in the banking sector, that you have experience in this area? Why he knew about his expertise, and that's why you were called to fulfill that expertise? Response. I did not know who gave the order to call me from the cooperative. And a lot of people knew that I had the banking expertise because I worked in the bank before that regime and I was known by many people. So I did not know which person actually ordered for me to return to Phnom Penh.
Question. Later on, who else did you meet? I mean, those who had known you before, that you had bank expertise. Response. I did not meet anyone else because those who knew me, that I knew banking system, I only met Vandrat who actually used to work with me before, and I could not really know exactly who else knew me, that I knew banking system. Question. You mentioned that you met Vandrat who had worked with you before. Did Vandrat meet you immediately after you met Won Wait, or it was sometime after you met Won Wait? Response. I did not meet Vandrat immediately when I returned to Phnom Penh. It was up until there was the revision of the structure of the Commerce Committee, when Duen was replaced, it was at that time when I met Vanrit. Question. Had you known Duen before? Response. No, I hadn't. Question. When did you get to know him? Response. When the Cambodian delegation was proposed, and that delegation was led by Duen, and I was part of this delegation, and I learned that Duen was the chairman of the Commerce Committee. It was from then that I knew him. Question. When you were designated to work in the Foreign Trade Bank, what was the organizational structure of the bank? Response. Concerning the structure of the bank, I have already told the court before the President intervenes. The witness needs not answer the question because it is repetitive. Thank you, says the counsel. That's all right. You mentioned in your testimony earlier that there was a Director General and then you being the Deputy Director General in that bank. Can you tell the court whether or not there were other departments within the bank? Response. None. There was none. Thank you. Question. How about your day-to-day work concerning the operation of the bank? What kind of jobs did you undertake in relation to banking operation? Response. There was no such operation as the normal banking operation, because in a conventional bank there would be accounting systems and systems of recording transaction, but there was no such system. Question. Are you sure that there is no system at all, or there was any form of recording the transactions? Response. I would not say that there was no system at all, but there was no some things that is noticeable. Thank you. Question. In your testimony earlier, you said you had been the interpreters on several occasions and you were engaged as a French interpreter. Was your interpreting assignment related by any way with the banking system? Response. I can say that it was almost no relation or connection with the banking expertise I possessed at all.
បាទសូមអរគុណ
Question. When you were appointed the Deputy Director General of the Foreign Trade Bank of the Democratic Cambodia, did you receive advice or orders or instruction, and if so, how?
បាទគ្មានការណែនាំ
Response. There was no structure, guidance, or advice.
បាទសូមអរគុណតើលោកមាន
Question. Did you give advice or guidance concerning banking transaction to officials of the Democratic Cambodia?
ការងារ
Response. When upon our meeting with the Chinese delegation, and the Japanese counterpart explained us how to do trading with each other using the banking system. And when the Cambodian official did not understand, I have elaborated the point so that they could understand the process. And when the Commerce Committee prepare export documents, I also give some expert opinions as to how they should go about preparing such document. Question. You say that you gave advice to someone in the Commerce Committee, and who did you refer to specifically? A response. I refer to those who worked in the Commerce Committee. There was no anybody else. It was those who worked in the Commerce Committee.
បាទសូមអរគុណ
Question. Can you recall those whom you worked with in the Commerce Committee back then?
បាទខ្ញុំមិនចាំទេ
Response. I cannot recall them.
ក្នុងពេល
Question. In your subsequent work upon your appointment as the Deputy Director General, how often were you invited to provide expert advice to officials in the Commerce Committee?
ខ្ញុំមិនចាំ
Response. I cannot recall how many times I was asked to go there, but normally I would provide opinions or advice upon request, but there was no formal training session. I only told them where I knew.
បាទសូមអរគុណតើលោកអាច
Question. Can you tell the court how long did it normally last, asking, telling, or advising those officials in the Commerce Committee?
ខ្ញុំមិនអាច
Response. I cannot say exactly how many minutes or hours it took me to advise them, but it was not so long because I responded to the points which they were not sure about, and there were other points which I was not sure about and I could not answer. Thank you. Question. You said you provided your advice in relation to banking operation, and it was in the form of theory. Was it an applied theory, or it was the universal theory in the banking world? A response. I normally told them about the universal practice in banking system, particularly when it came to import and export. And there were certain particular issues when they asked me on practical matters. I cannot recall those matters, but I told them from time to time about certain points, but I had to admit that I did not know everything in banking system. I was more conversant in the credit section, and I could recall some of the theory I learned from school, but I did not know it very well on every point. I only knew some theories, and coupled with some practices, I explained them on certain points.
សូមអរគុណអាចបញ្ជាក់បានទេថាការងាររបស់លោកក្នុងសម័យនោះស្ថិតនៅក្រោមស្ថាប័នណា
Questions. Under which institution were you supervised?
ខ្ញុំមិនដឹងច្បាស់ទេបាទ
Response. That I am not sure.
លោកបានជម្រាបជូនក្រុមប្រឹក្សាជំនុំជម្រះកន្លង
Question. You told the chamber earlier on that May was the designated Director General who was your direct superior. Did they tell you that May was an individual who actually supervised the bank, or it was a mere nominal name?
បាទខ្ញុំអត់ដឹងទេបាទ
Response. That I do not know.
សូមលោកបញ្ជាក់សារជាថ្មីថាលោកអត់ដឹងលោកអត់ដឹង
Question. Can you elaborate? What do you mean by you don't know about this? Can you be more specific?
ដឹងថា
Response. I did not know whether or not this name was an actual physical person, or he was somebody else, or a nominal names or so. I did not know. I did not know whether or not that person was a real physical person or he was just someone who only bore the name. Thank you. Question. Did you ever report to an upper authority concerning the work plan of the bank or the progress to be expected from the bank? Response, no, I never prepared such report. And in addition, I did not have any idea to prepare the action plan or strategic plan of the bank because I was all alone. There was no strategic plan or action plan at all. And I did not even have my own initiative to start anything. Question. How about your supervisor, those who were from the Democratic Cambodia or from line ministry supervising you? Did they ever give you instruction to prepare any plan in order to ensure that the bank would grow? Response, no, we never received any guidance. Questions. What was your impression of your position as the Deputy Director General of the Foreign Trade Bank? The President. The witness needs not answer this question because this will lead to speculation or assumption by the witness in his answer. Counsel, thank you, Mr. President, but this question concerns the witness himself. The President intervenes. The witness needs not answer the question, and because this question elicits assumption from the witness, and today we are not prosecuting the witness. We need to ask him what he can recall, what he has experienced. So the counsel is advised to move on. Thank you, says the counsel. Question, can you explain three terms? The first term is front. Have you heard of this term before and what it means? Response, I have heard of the word, but I cannot explain it because this was the word commonly used in the Khmer Rouge regime when they came to power, and I cannot explain. But in Khmer definition, front means being united to achieve certain goals. But I cannot explain it in detail. Question, how about the term royal government, which was used during the resistance movement period up until the adoption of the new constitution of the Democratic Cambodia? Did you understand this term? At that time, I was not sure there were resistant forces or movements, and the Khmer Rouge came to power. I cannot be precise and clear about the event. Thank you. The last word was the Angka. What was your impression of this term before 1975? Response. Before 1975, I did not hear the word Angka at all. When did you get to know this word? Response. I heard it later on when the Khmer Rouge forces took control of Cambodia. And at that time we heard frequently the word Angka. But before I never heard of the word. Thank you. Would like to ask for permission from Mr. President to present document D279/6, which also contain E3/439. On page 7, the President, can you please give the title of the document as well as the relevant EON page, because otherwise we cannot locate the document easily. The title of the document is A Record of Interview of Witness, Khmer EON 0041 8545. Because this particular document contains question and answer, so I would like to refer to questions 35 and 36. The President, you may proceed. And this document is available. Court officer is instructed to locate the document and present it to the witness. And assistants, please project this document on the computer screens.
បាទសូមអរគុណលោកប្រធាន លោកសាស្ត្រីលោកបានឃើញចំណុចនេះហើយ
I think you have located the point I would like to ask, says the counsel.
បាទសូមអរគុណសូមដល់លោកត្រូវការពេលវេលាដើម្បីអានរបស់នេះទេ
Counsel, do you need some time to go through these points?
សូមសួរ
Response. I would like to ask the defense counsel what am I expected to respond to the question? What was the question? President. Mr. Witness, you simply go through this point first because we would like you to have a look at this document, because this document is the record of interview by the Office of Co-Investigating Judges. When you go through this point, then the counsel may put question to you relating to these points. The President. Counsel, you may proceed.
បាទសូមអរគុណ
Counsel.
សំណួរចម្លើយលេខ35នេះ
On question number 35,
បញ្ជាក់ថាសូមទោសនៅពេលដែលគេសួរថាតើលោកចាំ
the question reads, can you recall who established the Ministry of Economy and when was it established? And you said in your answer, I do not know when it was established, but the Khmer Rouge had to have ministries for international relations, which my estimation the Ministry of Economy was probably established when the Khmer Rouge government was created.
My question to you is the following. You use the word estimation for the establishment of the Ministry of Economy. Do you have any the reasons or ground for your estimation of the establishment of the Ministry of Economy? Response. Mr. President, let me give a little bit detail regarding this point. First, I was evacuated from Phnom Penh to work in the fields in the cooperative for a while. So that was the time that I was at the cooperative and I did not know what was going on in Phnom Penh. Second, I did not know the exact date of the establishment of the ministry. So, the estimation is my personal estimation due to the circumstance at the time. There had to be the establishment of the ministry, but I did not know the exact date. So it was my personal estimation. A government needed to have the ministries. And this estimation is my personal conclusion based on my personal knowledge and experience. Because I had been for some months at the cooperative and the ministry could be established during that time. Thank you. Question. Can you please read the question answer session number 36? I will read it to you. Question. You will be shown a document with EIN 00019108 20001 9126. It is entitled the Standing Committee Meeting dated 9th October 1975. And your answer to this question is the following. I never see this document. The standing committee was the central committee. I was in the very low position at that time. Although I was educated, I was in the low position in the party rank. I would like you to elaborate further regarding the sentence that you said the standing committee was the central committee. Can you elaborate on that? Response. In the document, it used the word the standing committee, and to my understanding, the standing committee, the central committee, is in French the Comité Central. So it was the upper ministerial committee. And I read that in the document it was referred to as the standing committee. So it is just my understanding. Thank you. What I want is that, can you explain to us whether the word standing and central is one or the same, or whether they are two separate entities, or whether the wording in the document is wrong? Response. To me, either the standing committee or the central committee, they are the steering committees. Although I do not know the exact wording referred to that steering committee, it could be either the standing committee or the central committee. And whether the document is right or wrong, it is beyond my knowledge. I was shown that document. Let me interrupt you, Mr. Witness. As this document is your statement, and I'd like you to elaborate on that. I'd like you to elaborate on the word the standing committee versus the central committee. Was that your statement, and that you stand by that statement? Or that you now believe that you make a mistake and you like to change because they are two separate committees? Can you elaborate on that? Response. To my understanding, standing or central committee was the steering committee, that is the leadership level. That is my understanding. I'm not sure if my response is clear enough to you. Thank you. So, in your opinion, at this time, you are not sure what the standing committee is or what the central committee is. You only know that they are the upper echelon. Is that correct? Response. It is my understanding that the standing committee or the central committee, they are the supreme leadership level. This is my understanding. Thank you. Also, in that same document,
ត្រង់សំណួរចម្លើយ38
At question answer session number 38, have you found that a portion yet, Mr. Witness?
សំណួរថាតើលោក
The question is,
ធ្វើអ្វី
do you know what position Ham held in the Ministry of Industry?
ចម្លើយរបស់លោក
And your response to that question
ពេលដែល
is the following.
នៅពេលនោះ
When I started working there,
អូននៅក្នុងនេះសរសេរអូន
អូន
សាប់និង no
that is the name you use in that statement, but sometimes you refer to On,
ប្រធានក្រសួងបតា
that On was the chief of the ministry,
ជាអ្នក
and I assumed that Ham was above On,
ខាញ់មកទេ
but he was not known to the public.
បានឆ្លើយទៅ
That is your statement in response to the question put by the investigator from OCIJ. Response, yes, that is my statement.
ខ្ញុំសូមឲ្យលោកបញ្ជាក់
Question.
តងទៅនឹងពាក្យថាខ្ញុំស្មានប្រហែលជាឈ្មោះហែមតើពាក្យថាស្មាននេះលោក
Can you tell us
ជួយមកស្មានដែរ
when you use the word I assumed, what was the basis for your assumption?
សាស្ត្រមកទៅ
President, Mr. Witness, please hold on, don't reply yet. The prosecution, you may proceed.
It's an entirely repetitive question. We put the same passage to the witness. He stood by his statement and said it was based on his observations of the documents.
បាទខ្ញុំសូមឆ្លើយតប
Defense counsel,
លក្ខខណ្ឌនេះខុសគ្នាលក្ខខណ្ឌទី
my response is that my question is related to the standing committee
1ដាក់មជ្ឈមដែលលោក
and the central committee.
ឆ្លើយថាស្មានប៉ុន្តែលក្ខ
And Mr. Witness made an estimation regarding that committee, and this point is related to the person by the name of Haim.
ដូចវានិយាយពីពាក្យថាស្មានត្រូវតែជាពាក្យច្រំដែរនោះទេ
The assumption here is not the repetition of the previous one. So I'd like to seek the response from the witness. The President. The objection raised by the prosecution is denied. Mr. Witness, you may respond. Response. At that time, I was presented with a number of documents to read. After I read those documents, I made my assumption, and this assumption is based on those documents presented to me. It is not just a plain assumption without any basis. And based on the assumption, upon reading those documents, Ham position was above. And again, that assumption was based on the documents shown to me. And clearly, according to those documents, it is very likely that Ham was above the Commerce Committee. It is not that I was just sitting idly and made such an assumption. Thank you. So, as you just confirmed, you made your assumption relying on the documents not because of your knowledge in that time period. Is that correct? Response: that is correct. Because there was no official document of appointment of any of those people during that regime. And I was shown the documents during that investigation. Thank you. Question. Now we move on to question answer 39, which is just below that question answer 38. The question that was put to you is the following. Based on your answers to the question just raised, does it mean that Time was sitting on the Economic Committee or in the Ministry of Economy and the Management of Von Wade? And your response is yes. Maybe Ham was sitting on the Economic Committee with Von Wade, or he was assigned by the upper echelon to be the chairman of the Commerce Unit. Do you have anything that you use as your basis to assume that Ham was sitting on the Economic Committee or the Ministry of Economy? Response: if I'm not mistaken, one of the documents that I was shown, there were some annotations that read they were sent to Brother Won and Ham. So I made my conclusion based on those annotations in those documents that the two were sitting in the Economic Committee above other ministries, including the Ministry of Commerce. I did not just make a plain assumption. And that was the likely reason that he was sitting in that committee. And the annotations in those documents are obvious reasons. Thank you. Let me confirm that for what you have just stated, you did not know the actual fact of the relationship between the person by the name of Ham in relation to the Commerce or Economy Committee before you were shown the document by the investigator from the OCIJ. Is that correct? Response: yes, that is correct. I made my conclusion relying on those documents. Question: in the documents shown to you by the investigator of the Office of the Co-Investigating Judges, was any of the documents included the name of a person by the name of Ham or his signature? Response: it seems that I did not see anything regarding the order by the person named Ham, but the documents were sent to Brother Ham. That was in the annotation. Or if there were such a reference to him, please show to me for clarity's sake.
Mr. President, I may be able to assist Council. There was a document that was discussed with an apparent instruction from the upper echelon, and it was D279/6.5, if I recall correctly.
លោកប្រធាន ខ្ញុំយល់ថា
Defense Counsel, Mr. President, this is not the appropriate time for the prosecution to present a document. Let me move on with my line of questioning. Could you please look at the last portion of the question answer 39 of yours? Let me read it to you. The bank was not under the control of Economic Committee or Commerce Committee, and I did not know who was at the upper echelon and controlled me. Is that your true statement? Response. Let me read my statement. It is the following. Yes, maybe Ham was sitting on the Economic Committee with one weight, or he was assigned by the upper echelon to be the chairman of the Commerce Unit. That statement I made based on the document that I reviewed. Defense Counsel, yes, you already made your confirmation regarding this point, but what I want to ask regarding the last sentence in that response number 39, that the bank was not under the control of Economic Committee or Commerce Committee, and I did not know who was at the upper echelon and controlled me. Response. I stand by my statement, Counsel, because I did not know who actually established it. Thank you. Question. Did you have any wonder or doubt when a bank was established and that you did not know who actually established the bank, or who were the subordinates of that person? Response. Of course, at that time I had some wonders, but I did not dare to ask anyone regarding this matter. Question. Why was that? Response. I cannot give you the reasons. My question is that why you did not ask people about the establishment of a bank, and you did not know who was the superior or who were the subordinates? Response. If you compare the situation to the current situation, of course, now you would ask this question. But at that time, I did not ask the question. That is my short answer. Defense Counsel, you could not ask? Why you could not ask? Response. At that time, it was my belief that I should not ask any question. And that is my short response to you. I did not want to ask for any details regarding the matter. Whatever I was told to do, I just do it. And if I had any doubts, I just kept it to myself. Question. Can you elaborate a bit further that you kept the doubts in you? Why? And why? Because it is rather strange, isn't it? It is strange that a bank was open and you did not know whom to report to or who were the subordinates. What were the factors that made you unable to raise these kinds of questions? Mr. President, Mr. Witness, please respond to the question. I don't believe there is any concern for you to consult with your duty counsel as the just respond does not incriminate yourself. If you are afraid that your response would incriminate yourself, then you can seek advice from your duty counsel. For other questions, then you just provide your direct response. You only seek consultation with your duty counsel. If you think it would incriminate you, of course you also have the right not to respond to any question. That is your right. If you can recall it or you recall the question, please respond to that question. Response. Regarding a small number of staff, that was what I was told when the bank was established. I had doubt about that because it was not like a full bank. But I had to keep myself quiet. There was no benefit for me of asking people around. Because if I were to ask the people around, I would have concerns for my personal safety. Thank you. Let me ask you my last question. When you were the Deputy Director of the Foreign Commerce Bank, did you know the person Haim? Response. President, the prosecution, you may proceed.
Your Honours, I am reluctant to intervene, but the question does tend to mislead. The witness testified when examined by my national colleague that he knew who Hem was and testified that it was Khieu Samphan. To ask him if he knew who Hem was, again, is just repetitive and it may lead to confusion.
Defense counsel, I think the prosecution misunderstands that Ham versus Khieu Samphan was a separate matter. Here I refer to a person by the name of Ham, and whether he knew the person of Ham in his capacity as the Deputy Director of the Foreign Commerce Bank. The President, the objection raised by the prosecution is denied. Defense counsel, you can repeat the last question so that the witness can respond. Thank you, Mr. President. Let me repeat my question. The question is, did you know him when you were the Deputy Director of the Foreign Commerce Bank? Response. At that time, there was no communication with him. The bank did not report to him, nor did he contact the bank, nor I met him in person. Thank you. Let me confirm that you never met him in your line of work as the Deputy Director of the Foreign Commerce Bank during that period. Response, yes, that is correct. Mr. President, I conclude my question and I'd like to give the floor to my international colleague. The President, the time is appropriate for a break. We shall take a 20-minute break and return at 10 to 11. Court officer, please assist the witness and his duty counsel during the break and have them back in the courtroom at 10 to 11.
សូមក្រោកឈរ